Ram, this is Ranj, and welcome to the Thinking Out Loud podcast. We hope you enjoy the show.
How's it going?
Again, how are you?
Yeah, not bad. How are you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
not too bad. Not too bad.
I want to do things a bit differently. So,
Yeah.
what's been the highlight of your week?
Wow, the highlight of my week, honestly, is the break I had from work, from a stressful day at work, to when I was at home. So, like, by that I mean I was just in stillness for about 20, 30 minutes. I go, right, I'm just going to shut the door. I went up to my room, shut the door, and then for half an hour, I didn't think. Naturally, when you come home, you think about, oh, I've got to cook, or I've got to do this, and then you feel so stressed, and you come home and you feel stressed.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to forget the world ever existed.
Yeah.
I'm just going to lie on the bed, and I put some nice music, just some music on that
Yeah.
could just allow me to take me to another world. And then after 30 minutes, I felt completely refreshed.
Yeah.
And that's probably my highlight of the week because, you know, there's been quite a lot going on in the week generally, and it's just been nice to have that break and realise that, you know what, you can take a break from the world. All you need to do is just calm down, be in a bit stillness for about 20, 30 minutes, and then you feel like a completely different person. So that's my highlight of the week. I mean, it isn't much really, but for me, I think personally it's good because it actually teaches me that whenever life gets you down or you feel stressed, just take some time out. You can take time out, and the results, I've seen the results. You feel like a completely different person, and you're ready to tackle the rest of the day.
Yeah.
That's my highlight about the day. Tell me about yours.
You know what? It's not. That's the thing. It doesn't seem like it's a massive highlight.
Yeah.
But it's the simplest things for me. I was able to go to the gym like 3 times this week.
Nice. Nice.
And it's difficult just because obviously with the little one and with like just stuff going on.
Yeah.
Find it difficult, and sometimes even when I do go to the gym, I feel like it's a rush. But yeah, this week it was kind of like steady.
Yeah.
Got done what I wanted to get done.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's it. That's my highlight. But yeah,
that's the opposite of me though. It's like you know me by now. I exercise for at least 4, 5, 6 times a week.
Yeah.
And I've only been able to exercise. I know we've got Saturday and Sunday. I've been only able to exercise 3 times this week, and I'm like, that means 2 days off in the week already. And I'm like, what? 2 days off? And it plays on my mind. I don't know if it's the same for a lot of other men. Like when you don't go to the gym and you've got your routine and you go, oh, I've got so much going on in the world right now. I can't train. I'm like, oh my God. That's probably my low point. But, you know, I just say to myself, you know what?
But that's the thing, because like I used to be, like ideally I would want 4 days.
Yeah.
5 days. Yeah. But I think that's why it's a highlight, because sometimes in 0 days or 1 day or something. And I think I used to be kind of a lot more, but you know, life takes over as well.
It does.
Before you know it, if you don't go gym one day, then sometimes it's not the other day, and then a week goes by and then you haven't gone gym, and then you just think, oh, I need to get back. So yeah, the aim is just to kind of be consistent, and a minimum of 3 days.
Yeah.
I'll be buzzing for 4.
Well, it's teaching me not to be so hard on myself as well, because it's like I say to myself, look, I have tried to keep a consistency for the last 4, 5, 6 years, and I have been able to. So I'm just trying to tell myself, just chill out, man, and take an extra day off won't harm you. You won't die. Do you know what I mean? Like, so you know, and then when I go back home today or tomorrow, I'll get back to the training. I'll feel all right again. So that's what I'm trying to tell myself.
Perfect. Right. So we're going to talk about in the first episode, we're going to try and keep it simple.
Yeah.
Stigma. Why is, in the Asian community,
Yeah.
Asian men,
Yeah.
in mental health, why is mental health why is there a stigma? Like,
It's a good question. And in my opinion, I think there's so many different aspects to cover. But like, I like to try and look at it from the ground up, which is, let's look at what a persona of a man. That's the way I like to see it. What is the persona of in my opinion, what is a persona of a man? In my opinion, a persona of a man is the breadwinner, look after their family, earn the money, and be able to, sort of stand on your own 2 feet for the sake of everyone else around you. And I feel that's, if you look at, and that's what I've seen through growing up as well, from my family and my father's, is like, as I've grown through my life, you're able to form your own definition of what a man should do, or what is a man's prerogative in life, what is their duty, what should they be doing in life, who is a man, what is the makeup of a man. And I just feel like, I think it might be the case for other people listening to this, but for me, I feel it's like number one, obviously we can touch on the fact that mental health wasn't really spoken about in those times. And when I was born in the 90s, 95, and I was a kid, but still, like, generally when you get older in sort of adolescence years, and then the engagements of mental health, then you'll start to think our mental health is real, it does exist, and you can communicate. But I think I've just grown up in environments where, like I said, men were the breadwinners, and they had to stand there on their own 2 feet and just keep going and going and going for the sake of the family, and earn the money. And now, obviously, today, now there's more exposure to mental health and more discussion about mental health, and people are talking about it a lot more. There's a lot more there's more of a spotlight on mental health, and why they're not able to express. And I think men are being challenged a lot more to express, because I think men are being put under a lot of pressure to say, well, why do you not speak about your mental health? And naturally that does impact like things like sort of relationships and even the relationship you hold with yourself as well, because sometimes you start questioning yourself, so why can't I speak up? Why can't I speak up? And that's what we like to uncover, is like, why can't they speak up? Which is essentially the stigma of mental health, where men aren't able to speak up. And there's, like I said, there's a lot of areas to cover off, but like I said, I just feel that there is a persona of a man that I believed was the makeup of what a man should be like. And now the question is, well, why can't men speak up? Things have changed now. And now it's got to a point where I think we need to start looking at opening up that stigma and changing the definition of what it is to be a man, and that includes speaking up about mental health. But what do you think?
So just on your point about, why can't men speak up? And I think part of it, and I've experienced it, some men probably don't know how to speak up. Like, I don't, when if someone asks me, how you doing? Yeah, I'm good. That's it, end of conversation, right? But if it's a bit more open, maybe I would probably, I'm okay, but this happened and that happened. But I think men are very, some men, I'm very black and white. If someone asks me a question, I'll answer that question. But if it's a bit more open, then I might say more. But, like I said earlier on, when I didn't really know how to open up, I didn't know. It was just general, everything's fine. This is what, and I think it's after going through therapy, like myself, you start learning about, okay, how can you open up? How can you be a bit more vulnerable? Even if someone doesn't necessarily ask, they probably say, how you doing? And then you can just be like, well, and automatically you go to, this point, and then you start opening up a bit more, rather than just saying, obviously there's a time and a place, sometimes when I'm on like a lad's kind of meet up, someone says, how you doing? Obviously you don't want to start bringing the tone down and start saying, oh yeah, it's been shit, and this is what's happened, and that's what's happened, and you know, there's also a time and a place, I think, sometimes, and that's where it's learn about it as well. And yeah, I think that's probably one of the main things is how would you open up. But going back to the topic, why is there a stigma? I think it could be multiple things. It's probably your surroundings, your upbringing, your family. Like I said, like the last generation tend to just get on with things. And I think it's also kind of out of sight, out of mind, right? So, you know, it's like you got a broken leg. You can see that you got a broken leg. Let's try and fix it, right? Yeah. If you got a cold, you kind of feel bunged up. You know, it's visible you got a cold. If you're feeling depressed, you can't see that, and I think that's why other people, they won't know what you're going through if you're feeling down, but they're also not mind readers, and I think that's where it's kind of like, okay, we need to start then opening up.
But why do you, in your opinion, why do you think it's so difficult for, particularly in our Asian community, to accept that mental health exists? Is it because that, I mean, you're right, using that example, is that when you're young, you see if somebody's hurt themselves, you can see it. I understand that. Yeah. But what if it changed where when we were younger, that these engagements about emotions and mental health were more prominent and more prominent, that we'd have probably a different outlook on if someone says to you, I'm depressed, and someone today may look and go, okay, so we'll sit down, what's wrong? Yeah. So do you think that the lack of exposure and engagement of mental health when we're younger contributes to, even today, that why mental health is still a taboo in our culture?
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think, like you said, because it wasn't very explored. And obviously now because it's such a big topic now, even in school, like obviously, like I said, my son, he goes to nursery and they start talking about feelings. And even now we've got this feelings chart, and he says, it's on there, he goes, this is what angry, it's got it's just a little face, and it says angry, and there's a person with an angry face, upset, there's sad, there's sick, and all that. And we're starting to go through these, and he's kind of going through, and we do impressions and stuff, and he says, oh, you know, I'm feeling sad. I'm like, why are you feeling sad? He goes, because I've hurt myself, and all that kind of stuff. And that's from an early age, and I think it's amazing because he can then, if he's going through some sort of hardship at nursery or school, and I'm not there to see it, then he can at least come back home to explain to me. And also, he can also know that, you know, it is a safe zone at home. Like, no matter how busy I am, if he, you know, if something comes up and he's sad or he's hurt himself or he cried or whatever, then he knows that it's just me and him there, or it's us three, like my wife, him, and me, and we can just, okay, why are you sad? What's happened? And then he can explain it. Sometimes, obviously, he's joking, which we don't know, but he's like, oh, I'm sad because, you know, I hurt my toe or something, and just kind of like, is your toe all right? It's like, yeah. But the thing is, like, we see, like, you know, he's fine, he's running around and stuff like that. But sometimes, I guess it's just him getting used to what the different emotions are, different feelings are, and stuff like that. And I think the more we embrace that with him, the better it will be in the long run. And obviously, we didn't have that growing up because our parents just got on with stuff. And again, it could be, again, going back to whether it's a stigma. It's, I mean, I think this, it might be two things. I think, obviously, it could be loads more, but I think there's pride and and the fear of being gossiped about.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of gossip in the Asian community, I feel, and it's just kind of like, oh, did you hear about so and so? You know,
Yeah.
he's feeling upset, or he's not come out of his room for however many days, something. So, you know, and I feel people feel that they don't want to be gossiped about, which is, you know, fair enough. But then it's the culture. People gossip in our culture, and you don't want to be on the wrong side of that gossip. So you put on your mask and you carry on because you don't have a choice. And again, like I said, it's pride, and just pride that everything's fine, nothing's wrong.
Yeah, and I think what you've expressed there is the fact that your son, at a young age, is able to come home and express how he's feeling and his emotions. And I feel like, in my opinion, I feel like men, particularly our age, have still struggled to express their emotions and their mental health because they weren't taught to do that at a young age, or they tried to. Maybe they were crying, or they were saying, I'm unwell, or I'm angry and frustrated, but they were just shunned, just ignored. And I think what contributes to that is the fact that teaches that individual that they can't express their emotions. And you bring that up, and your upbringing through in adulthood, you have no idea about the concept of mental health, no idea about the concept of expressing your emotions. So naturally, you're going to bat those questions about, are you okay, are you okay? Or you're just going to say, I'm fine, because that's how you were taught in younger age to if you're feeling low, you were just taught to say, I'm fine, everything's all right, there's no problem. You may feel a certain way, but then you just ignore it to think, I'll be fine the next day. And that's not, it's funny enough, I don't think it's our fault, it's not your fault, it's nobody else's fault. Like, in terms of the men probably watching this now, it's not your fault either, where you're unable to express your emotions because you weren't taught. It's like teaching maths.
Yeah.
Like, you may be a proficient, my brother's he's a boffin at maths, right? Because he was very good at it and he got taught it really well when he was younger, plus it's one of his favourite subjects. But it's the same thing. It's like, if mental health's not taught in schools and whatnot, or you're not teaching your children or your children to be able to express their emotions, you're not going to know how to do it as an adult. And I feel like that's one of the contributing factors. And I think the exposure to mental health today, and the resources, and the recognition that feelings and emotions matter and you're able to express, is why a lot of men are more coming out to be able to express.
Yeah.
Or they see an opportunity to be able to express, but I still think they don't know how to.
Yeah, I think what has previously, or what I've previously thought as well, is when you were younger, when you were upset, because you still know about the main feelings, right?
Yeah.
Happy, sad, basically.
Yeah.
So if you're sad and you go to the old generation, say, I'm sad. Say, yeah, okay, you'll be all right.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I do feel when I have been kind of low, it's kind of like, what is the point in opening up? Because no one cares.
Yes.
And I think, like you said, you've been shunned down, but it's like, wow, what is the point? No one does care if I am annoyed or if something has like frustrated me.
Yeah.
But there's always someone who cares. And I think again, it's easier sometimes just say I'm fine.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's just an automatic response. It could be.
Yeah.
It could just be like, oh yeah, how's family? Yeah, they're fine. How's
passive conversation.
Yeah, and it is passive, because I think sometimes, I mean, I'm sensitive in terms of, I read people's faces as well, and I just okay, someone's asking me how am I doing, but you can tell they're vacant.
That's a skill, by the way.
Yeah, right.
It's a skill.
And I don't know if I could just be paranoid.
Yeah.
But you can also look at them and just say, they're asking me how I'm doing. You can tell they're thinking about something else.
Yeah.
So why am I going to end up wasting my energy saying, yeah, this has happened, that's happened, this is how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
It's just like, all right, oh, yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah.
And like, okay, yeah, cool. And then they talk to you about whatever they want to talk to
Yeah.
you about, and you just think, there you go. They don't
Yeah.
actually care, right?
No, that's the thing. And also, like, funny enough, if you ask me that, you know, if I ask you how you're doing and you come back to me and say, yeah, I'm fine, everything's good, but then I see a different, you know, on your face, I see something completely different there. I feel something different, that something's not right. Of course, you know, I'm able to be judge, pretty good, decently the judge of character and judge of behavior. And, you know, the good thing about why I think having that good self-awareness of mental health is so important is to be you're able to notice that within the person that you're speaking with and go, is he actually all right, or is it he doesn't know how to express?
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that when I have conversations with, I mean, I've got a good few Asian friends, and when I do have the engagement about how's things, how you're doing, and the reason probably why it's passive conversation is I feel like it's because they don't know what else to talk about, or they don't know how to express how they're feeling. There could be fear out on the outside to say, well, if I tell this person how I'm feeling, he's probably going to shun it and think, oh, you're fine, you're fine. But that's the culture and the concept of mental health within the Asian community and how that was built up. It's like, you know, if I said to one of my Asian friends, yeah, I'm feeling a bit low, I know the response I'm going to get back, which is, oh yeah, don't worry, you'll be all right. Everything's going to be good. Don't worry, just chill. Come, let's have a drink or something.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of you build that culture within the Asian community. It's that men are not going to be able to look beyond that barrier and go, I'm going to actually tell him how I'm feeling right now, and I want to see what his response is.
Yeah.
Because if you build that culture of those kind of responses, then they're naturally going to think that nobody cares.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's also important that even though you know what that person's response is going to be, I do the same, and I know their response, but I still want to tell them that if there's an occasion where you're not feeling, you know, happy in yourself, you can come to me, because I'm being vulnerable with you, so you can be vulnerable with me. And sometimes I do ask, like, one of my cousins, and then I'm just kind of like, how you doing? Yeah, I'm good. And he jokes it off. I was like, he's not.
Yeah.
And you keep asking him, and you're trying to, like, you're banging the drum, you're like, yeah. So, and then you start talking about something else because he moves the conversation on. But I'm always there bringing it back to, so how else are you doing? What's going on?
Yeah.
And again, it's the same thing. And whether it's because, again, like you said, doesn't know how to talk about it, or whether he doesn't want to talk about it, which is sometimes fine as well, because there might be an occasion where you're like, you know what, I don't actually feel like talking about it.
Yeah.
I'd rather forget about it at the moment, and I want to enjoy time with my friends, my family, and just have, you know, jokes or whatever. But I think the person who's asking that question, they also have a duty of being a bit more sensitive and just be like, yeah, I know you're not all right. And that's fine. You don't have to talk about it, but just know that I care for you. I'm there for you. So, you know, we talk to me whenever. But yeah, so I think, it's always a way. But I think that goes on to kind of like educating as well, like educating people or family members to even receive kind of being like, if you're asking the question, educating that person and saying how to listen to that person as well as the person who's actually having the feelings, and just saying, educating them on how to, I guess, be vulnerable. You know, so.
Well, and I think there's the thing is, I think there's a lot of, I feel there's a discomfort within Asian men to speak about their mental health, and that, like you used that example of saying, you're coming back to the conversation to try and get him to open up, but he wasn't able to because his source of comfort was, if I can bat this down the road, then that conversation will go away. But then naturally what will happen is when he's on his own, he'll be suffering inside himself. And I feel like that has been the common denominator with a lot of Asian men in our community, which has been, You know, I will put on the mask when everyone's here, and then I'll take it off when nobody's here.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important we need to try and change that dynamic, because I feel like we need to get more Asian men to be comfortable about speaking up how they're feeling. But I think we also need to be mindful that they're speaking to someone that they can trust. They can speak to someone who listens, and is not going to pass judgment. And I feel like the Asian community, there's a lot of judgment.
Yeah.
There's a lot of gossiping, a lot of bitching.
Yep.
There's a lot.
There is.
And then men feel shamed in thinking, I can't express how I'm feeling because this is how what their perception is of me. So how can we try and change that? And my sort of opinion is that the way in which we can change that is to, for like myself and yourself, speaking to the camera, speaking to the viewers, to be able to say we're two Asian men who are able to express, and we're not scared about how we express, or without expressing our emotions. I'm certainly not scared anymore, and that comes from it does come from a lot of hardship and hard work and, you know, therapy and everything. But I feel like if we can try and change that dynamic by being able to express the way we are now, then other people may look at it and go, okay, I want to be able to do that myself. So I think there is a barrier to break at the moment, because I think there's a lot of Asian men sitting on the other fence and saying, look, I have a way of dealing with it, and that is to not talk about it. But that's an unhealthy way. Do you think that's an unhealthy way of dealing with it?
No, definitely. I think when, and I've experienced it, where you talk about, you know, the mask goes on, the mask goes off. For me, when that bottle's full, and it's a weird one because I don't know where I am in that bottle, like how full is my bottle. It could be the smallest thing, and that will overflow the bottle, and I just need to kind of rant. I need to get out. I need to, you know, do something. And it's just that fine line. So even having the mask on and off, you can't even control sometimes. When you're going to completely explode. And I think you also mentioned about, you know, the shame, the gossiping and stuff. I think guilt is a massive thing as well, because with guilt, why am I feeling this way? My dad never felt this way, so why am I feeling this way? But guess what? Your dad probably did feel this way, right?
Did.
But the mask was on, you didn't know. And even friends, like, you know, they're feeling, they seem like they've got everything in order, everything's fine. But you just don't know what's going on. And I think, it is important. This is why it's important to kind of just open up and talk. And it is. It's not a healthy way to live, by just repressing things. Because it can come out in different ways. Not, you know, it could, like coping mechanisms. It could be, you know, substance abuse. It could be, you know, Asian people on a night out. Sometimes, like when I used to go to uni, like I didn't know of any of these people because I never used to hang around that sort of crowd. But there were people who used to go out looking for fights. Because like, and I was like, this is madness. Why are you going out looking for fights? Because they're internally, they've probably got some sort of like demon, or they need to get some sort of frustration out. And that's when it is like really unhealthy. Like you've got to be a very, obviously an angry person, but there's got to be a lot of built up if all you want to do is go out, drink, and start a fight. You know. So no, it's definitely, and like just talking. It doesn't need to get to a level where you're overflowed, like your bottle's full, but just to, you know, keep emptying that bottle by talking.
And I think, do you know what really makes me sad about this is the fact that, I mean, I'm speaking this from experience, well, from life, is that I look at my circle in friends, and particularly from, you know, the Asian sort of community in the background. The way I'm communicating with you, I've not been able to communicate with any other of my Asian friends.
Yeah.
And that's not an indictment or a criticism of anyone or them. It's just the fact that, I mean, again, I guess my theory is that they probably just still don't know how to express, and they're over the other side of the barrier of being able to just, I'll deal with my emotions my own way. It's working. It's fine, even though it may be unhealthy.
Yeah.
And that's sad because, I mean, I would love to communicate with you and communicate with a lot more people in this room, Asian men in this room, and be able to say, look, to express how you're doing, how are you feeling, and then for them to feel confident to jump over that barrier and go, you know what, these are two lads who will listen to me and are welcoming to speaking about mental health. And I think that's one of the stigmas we have to break, because, the way I feel is that their profile, their makeup of who they are and how they behave is coming from a sense of, it's coming from a repressed childhood of not being able to speak up with their emotions. But also there's a lot of male ego. And like I said, we were talking about this macho persona, right? And this macho persona being that as a man, I cannot express my emotions. I have to be strong for everybody else. And again, I'm not saying just because Asian men don't express that doesn't mean there's a problem with them. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that they, if they feel that they don't want to express and they're happy in their lives, then brilliant, fantastic. But I'm sure there are some Asian men out there who are probably watching this or who are probably struggling with their emotions, and it's up to us to try and get them over that barrier, and to be able to disconnect from what they were taught from childhood and be able to look into themselves and go, I don't want to be macho. I'm too tired to to really carry all this weight on my shoulders, and I don't want to do it anymore. And I'm sure there will come a time where there will be people who are probably thinking that right now. I don't want to express this. I want to be able to express how I'm feeling to someone. I just want a bit of support. And I feel like from our past, the wounds and the trauma that we're carrying makes it difficult for us to open up, given the fear of being judged and all of that. So I just think that the first thing to do is just to get Asian men to speak up. Say something different to how I'm all right, I'm fine, thanks, how are you? Tell me a bit more. But I think maybe we've got to do more to be able to ask those questions, to bring it out to them, to think, they're showing a bit more of an interest in me. With this passive dialogue, you can just do over WhatsApp and go, hi, how are you? Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
Because that's the thing. I guess it's if you've got a friend circle, it's trying to identify who are the better people to kind of talk to, right? And I think I'm lucky that I've got different groups of friends. And if I've got a problem, I know which friends I can talk to. If I've got a problem and I go to the other friends, I know what sort of response I'm gonna get. And that's again, like you said, it's not a negative upon them. That's all they know. Or maybe they've kind of got their own ways of, helping you, but maybe that's not how you want that help as well. So I think it's kind of looking, because like I said, there's always someone who's willing to listen, and it could be your friends, it could be your family, it could be anyone. Like you just don't. It's just starting a conversation with someone like in a coffee shop or something. You just don't. You just know. Obviously, you just don't want to be. You don't want to start. Being so kind of open and start talking about your private life and stuff like that, and to a random. But it's knowing who are, who are the best people to kind of talk to, right? But
Do you think? Okay, I'm going to ask this question. I'll try and just frame it. Do you think it's the fact that? Do you think there is still an ignorance towards mental health within the Asian community? And I'm not looking at it from the lens of, I guess I'm looking at it from the generation above us, but also our generation. Do you think there is an ignorance in the mental health community, ignorance of mental health in the community, or do you think it's the fact that men are just afraid to speak up?
I think it's a bit of both.
Could be a bit of both.
I think it's a bit of both. I think men are definitely. I say definitely. There are some men who will be afraid to speak up, because, like you said, it's not what a macho man is. It's not an alpha male trait, right?
Yeah.
To talk. So I think that has, a part to play. But I guess it is just, it's that thing of, like, I guess education as well, and just,
it is.
What do I need to do to open up? How do I need to, like, do I even need to open up? Like, some people might even think, you know what, I'm cool. They might have had, like, a really crap day, but they're probably like, nah, I'm still fine.
Yeah.
Like, that's fine. Yeah. And then you deal with it kind of in your own way. I mean, what like with yourself, like what triggered the point? Because, like, I think, like most men, they didn't know about opening up, how to open up, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
For you, what triggered that thing of, I need to do something. I need to teach myself. I need to learn. Like you said about your brother, about he was taught maths, and he's really good at maths. And obviously they started to teach it in school about mental health and all that kind of stuff. So obviously that we missed that in school. So we had to find out from ourselves. So what was the thing that made you think, I need to start learning about this? I need to start working on this for yourself.
I think. Well, I can say that it was a conversation I had with my sister, and it was in March 2020, and I remember the exact time it happened. I can also remember the exact moment. I can picture it that moment, because she could see that. I mean, she doesn't live. She lives away from home, and she came to visit. And she said, she came into my room and she goes, "Are you all right?" And I said, as we've just spoken about, yeah, I'm all right. You see what I mean? It's like, I was that person where that bats my feelings away, because I feel the best way to manage how I'm feeling is just by ignoring it and just saying I'm fine, because I feel like the next day I'll be happy again at some point in my day.
Yeah, it'll pass. But did she know that you weren't all right, and she was just asking as a conversation starter? She
knew, because, like, bearing in mind, I'm talking to a sister who is miles away from, in terms of therapy and stuff, that she's done a lot of the work at this time already. Yeah. So she's like, as we were talking about, judge of character, judge of behavior and your expressions, and she can see from yourself, from how you are and your sort of posture, how you're feeling. And she came to me and said, are you okay? And I said, yeah, I'm all right. But then she's had to dive in a lot more deeper. Yeah. And this is where it started to get uncomfortable for me. Yeah. Because essentially, really, she was like, I'm not leaving this room until you tell me what's wrong. Yeah. Is it something that's happened downstairs? Is it something that's happened at home? Yeah. And then I just had to make it clear that I was struggling. And that was the trigger, because I started to, is in that moment, and even before that moment, I always felt that nobody was there to listen to me. Yeah. But then my sister came and opened that door, and that was the trigger, because then I was able to say, I'm not feeling good because of, this is how, like, I've been feeling like this for such a long time. I couldn't really put into words depression, anxiety, fear. I couldn't put those words to it. I was just saying, look, I've got this really heavy feeling within me, and it's making me feel scared all the time. And I'm always thinking about the past of what's happened at home or what happened when I was a kid. So I just try to explain what it is that I will always think about. Yeah. And then she could see tears coming down my eyes, because I remember that moment when I was really low and I was crying, because I just didn't know how to get rid of all of this. Yeah. And then the trigger, the changing point for me was to say, Ram, have you tried therapy? And I was like, no, I haven't. Can you tell me more about it? And then it was not like she had to, I reluctantly accepted, saying, yeah, I'll try therapy then. Yeah. And I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
I'm just going with it with the trust for what my sister said, that therapy will help you to express safely how you are feeling and stuff. And I was like, all right, cool. And then I went into therapy. My first session was it was just before COVID, actually,
Right.
face to face. And when I came out of there, I was like, I don't know, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Well, I could have spoken to one of my friends, I would have been all right. But then as time went on, I started to learn about how to open up. And those questions that the experienced therapist would ask me would really hit a chord with me to saying, right, he's really touching these buttons here. And eventually, as time went on, I was able to, when I started to connect and listen to myself and ask and, take out those answers from my mind and think about what it is, what I've been asked, and then go into myself, then I was able to confidently express how I was feeling. And 5 years on now, I'm able to have this podcast with you, being completely vulnerable, not feeling scared about it, feeling very comfortable about expressing how I'm feeling right now. And it's taken years and years of hard work. But my trigger was that conversation with my sister. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't easy on day one. It was hard. But then I'd say as I started to have more of these sessions and I started to become more comfortable in expressing in that environment, I just thought, this is probably the game changer that I need in order to start talking about myself and start to heal from what is. I'm able to use the word heal now. I wasn't able to use the word heal then. So I think that was the trigger. It was definitely that conversation with my sister that made me start to connect with myself a lot more.
With that conversation with your sister, that first conversation, obviously you said you were kind of, tears and you were obviously talking a lot more. It was more than just, I'm fine. Yeah. How did you feel after that conversation? Before you started your first therapy session, how did you feel after that? Did it feel like a weight was lifted off your shoulders a bit? Or was it kind of like still fairly scary?
It was, no, definitely a weight lifted off my shoulders, because what I noticed is that when you speak, obviously someone who's intently and actively listening, you feel a hell of a lot better because they've digested what you have said. Because if I was speaking to someone about how it is I'm feeling and they were either on their phone or they looked away, I'll be like, no, I'm not. To hell with you. And but that's the thing, is that I feel like a lot of Asian men, I don't know, I guess I'm hypothesizing here, but my theory is that that attentive listener, I think, is not there and amongst, in my opinion, amongst a lot of Asian men, I feel. But that's coming from my own experience, and I may have got that completely wrong. But when I was coming back to the topic, when I had that conversation with my sister, a weight was lifted off my shoulders, but I was very scared still of my first session of therapy. I didn't know what to expect. I was very scared to deep dive into how I'm feeling. I was very scared for the therapist to really press buttons that I didn't want to press. But I think it became necessary that, and I think my sister recognized that, Ram, you don't need to feel this way in your life. Just because you're used to feeling this way doesn't make it right. And when she said that to me, that made me feel, okay, so I can feel happy then. Or is it true that I don't have to feel this way anymore? And she was like, you don't have to feel this way despite you being used to feeling like this in your environment, at home. You can be happy in life. You do know that. And then that was me, sort of my mission for myself to, I'm not saying I'm happy like 100%, but at least I'm able to know when I'm happy, how to, feel content within myself, because I'm able to manage how I'm negative emotions. And, we can go into a lot more detail of how I, about that now. But I think just forwarding on is that it was scary, but it's not scary now, because I was able to express in a safe environment where someone said, it is okay, you can express how you're feeling. You are not going to be judged in this environment. I'm not going to retaliate or give you solutions or answers. I'm just here to listen to you.
Do you think one of the main barriers is because, obviously, I don't really know about yourself in this aspect, but it's because Asians tend to be fairly private people, right?
Yeah.
So I guess that first fear of, okay, firstly, do I want to go to therapy because, you know what, you might feel guilty for not necessarily bitching, but, you know, talking about your family. It's like, you know what, I want to be a bit private about my family and my family life. Like, that's not normal to start talking about your family to a stranger.
Yeah.
But also the fear of, okay, something's going to get uncovered here. What's going to get uncovered? I don't really want it to be uncovered because I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to think about it, talk about it, or anything like that.
Yeah,
I mean, like, do you think like are you fairly kind of a private person? And then that was probably one of the, I guess, the barriers or the sticking points where it's kind of like, yeah, if I do talk to someone, I'm going to have to be open and not a person.
Yeah, but I think, again, I'm going to plug this question to the viewers as well, is that, are you private out of choice or are you private out of fear? I was private out of fear. Like, I didn't want to be judged. I didn't want to open up for those reasons.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say anything bad about my family, or, you know, I don't want to say anything bad about anyone within my upbringing. Because then then there's a fear that, oh my God, that's going to come out, or the therapist is going to be, you know, the therapist is going to,
they'll know your parents.
They'll know about my parents and everything, and
and they'll go to your parents and say, "Hey, you never guess what Ram said
yeah,
about
yeah." And I was just like, because then I didn't know what therapy was like in those times, but I was private, but I was private out of fear, and I feel like if you are private out of choice, you are a lot more confident and secure within yourself.
Yeah.
If you're out of fear, it's because you want to, but you don't know how to.
Yeah.
And that was me. I didn't know how to express. So, but then as I learned and I became confident and comfortable with the environment that I was in, that it's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Because then you just don't know how you're going to, what you're going to say in therapy, because you can come in angry, you can come in happy, you can come in so low, you can come in crying.
Yeah.
Whatever's in your mind, you're just going to let out.
Yeah.
I think it's just about being confident in being able to do that. And again, it's that fear of, I don't want to say something about my family because he's going to tell the other person down the road.
Yeah.
And that's not what we want to do. We want to be able to say, look, if there's anything you want to express in this safe environment, do it.
Yeah.
It's okay. Find a safe space for yourself is essentially the wrong thing I want to say, is that, you know, you may look at us and we're talking about it, but find a safe space because people are there to listen. And again, that's what we have to try and do, right? Is to be able to encourage Asian men to speak up and encourage Asian men to speak and enjoy each other's company, but listen to one another on a more of a deeper level. So I'm going to round it off by saying, what do you think we can do now? Despite, you know, being we feel like the torchbearers to speak up. What do you think we can do from this point forward to start allowing men or making men sort of open, particularly in our Asian community, to speak up more about their mental health? What do you think we can do to help them?
Personally, I think, firstly, it's allowing them to understand that it's okay to open up, and for them to understand that they're not the only ones who have felt they've been either shut down when they wanted to talk about feelings, or whether they've been in environments where they feel that, you know, what's the point of me saying anything because no one's going to care. You know, I think what, obviously, we just need to try as much as possible to make an environment that allows people to want to talk, or just to have the right ways in which they can talk, and
yeah,
learning about opening up when they want to open up,
yeah,
and just to kind of be at peace with, you know what, I'm not feeling good today, and there's nothing wrong with that. So
yeah. Speak up, men. We need to. I'm just going to say that, you know, we want to encourage people from our background to be able to speak up more, and this is the things that we hope that this can be an open space where if we can express, then I hope it brings confidence in yourselves listening to be able to speak up as well, and recognize that it's okay to express your emotions and it doesn't make you weak, and it's really important as part of positive well-being that you can speak up about your mental health. So join us on this journey to break the stigma, particularly around men's mental health in the Asian community, and there's so many more topics to discuss. But I hope this is a good start. This is a good start to the journey, and we hope you come along with us on the ride.
Yeah. Perfect.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks. Hey guys, thank you for tuning in to the Thinking Out Loud podcast. Please like and subscribe on your way out, and check back for the next one.